Hey everybody, welcome back to FloridaManFirearms. Today we're going to look at 3 examples of the SKS, and this really goes to show you how popular the SKS platform or rifle was. We're actually missing more examples. I mean, we still have an Albanian and Yugo SKS out there somewhere, but today we have a Russian SKS, we have a Type 56 Chinese, which is in really good condition, being that the majority of them were sent to Vietnam for the war. And we also have a Romanian SKS, which is probably the closest resemblance to a Russian SKS. Now, to my knowledge, the Yugo and the Romanian and Russians, they specifically always stick with the bladed bayonet, as were the Chinese, and even on their AK-47s they always had what we call the toad sticker. These rifles were used throughout the world for a long time, and even still to this day. I mean, here in America we use these as prepping rifles, although today with everything going on, not so much. These used to be $90 rifles. Now they're like in the, a little, sometimes in the $1,000 mark. But they are still used and still shot by many people around the world, including here in America. They are an effective rifle. They just work. Still being used as ceremonial guns. The SKS rifle, in my opinion, is probably, if you can get one for a good price, is probably a better option than an AK-47, only because the parts are a little bit bigger and less prone to break. There's not a lot of springs and gizmos in here. Like if you were to take one of these apart compared to an AK, to me it's a lot more manageable in terms of taking care of it into the field. The one downside is the magazine capacity on these, and also you get a freaking bayonet, so that's a nice little utilitarian thing, I suppose. So my favorite one would probably have to be the Romanian, only because I like the wood. The Romanians didn't really manufacture too much of these. I think they manufactured under 100,000. They didn't use them for very long. Same thing with the Chinese rifles. Well, the Chinese rifles, they actually manufactured a ton of these, and they sent a lot of them to Vietnam during the war, the North Vietnamese. This one in itself is a rarity, because the majority of Chinese rifles you see are beat to hell. This one we actually got in really good condition. A lot of them you'll find are beat up from the North Vietnamese using them to fight us. So this is a really good example of a Type 56. The Russians, believe it or not, there's stories of the Russians using the SKS on the final 3 weeks of World War II. So it definitely is battle proven. Up until, I want to say, the 1952 is when they really started to phase them out, even though they would continue to make them up until, I want to say, the late 50s, early 60s. So they're still there. I mean, the SKS, in my opinion, really isn't an obsolete gun. I mean, you got 10 rounds of 7.62 and a reliable platform. It's nothing to sneeze at by any means. And if you want to bubba it up, which if you like bubbaing things up, you can take the stock out and put a tactical stock with a 20-round magazine, or you can get some of the Chinese paratrooper models that have the magwell for the AK magazines. So they're a very viable option in today's market, in my opinion. They're excellent firearms. They're excellent heirlooms. I mean, they're just great guns. All 3 of these rifles have chrome-lined barrels, so they're excellent. They're excellently made firearms, in my opinion. So I want to thank y'all for taking the time to look at the SKSs that we have here at FloridaManFirearms. We don't shoot them enough, in my opinion, but they're probably one of the most of my favorite rifles out there in the surplus market, period. They're just excellent. The history of them is excellent. Not really much bad things to say overall. If you need a rifle, I mean, you would be handed this, and that was it. I mean, they're not bad at all. So thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see y'all in the next one.